Is it worth going for Gigantamax Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield? That is the question we are going to be exploring in today's video, because while Gigantamax Pokemon can look really cool and have some really awesome G-Max move effects, there's also quite a few drawbacks to them, and we're going to see if the good outweighs the bad. So, for starters, Gigantamax Pokemon are pretty rare, and even if you're trying to do some save scumming or some of these other methods where you look for the Beam of Light before soft resetting the game, that way you can get a purple Beam of Light, which gives you the best chance of getting a Gigantamax Pokemon, even with that, it could still take quite a bit of time. Now, after you get the purple Beam of Light, there's also the time exploit, so you can do time skipping and then just keep going until you get a Gigantamax Pokemon, but even with that, it can take up to an hour to get a Gigantamax Pokemon. That's a lot of work, so the benefit has to be pretty good for them. Well, if you're looking for competitive benefit, it's questionable, because when it comes to the Battle Stadium, you cannot use Gigantamax Pokemon in the ranked format. So, let's go to the Victory Station, let's connect to the internet, let's go to Ranked Battle. I'm going to show you guys, like anyone that's gone on already knows, but I just want to show you guys what happens if you try to bring a Gigantamax Pokemon into the Battle Stadium. That when you go for your team selection, it just doesn't work. So here, I have my Sandaconda. This is a Gigantamax one, as well as the Event Meowth. And then when you go to select it, oh, those two Pokemon can't be used. They're invalid because Gigantamax can't work. So, is there even a point for going for Gigantamax since you can't even use them competitively? Well, what about for VGC? Because there's a lot of like weird things that are going on right now when it comes to Pokemon Sword and Shield. So we have this, Sejun Park. Korea has the earliest official Sword and Shield VGC tournament on December 15th, and just confirmed, VGC 2020 rules are the same as Ranked Battle Series number 1. So it's going to be Battle Stadium rules, which means even if you're like trying to get Gigantamax Pokemon for some kind of crazy theory craft for VGC and you're just going to bust people open with like the double attract Eevee or something, nope, that is not going to be possible in Pokemon Sword and Shield because it's just going to be the same rules as the Battle Stadium. Now, this is where things kind of keep on getting weird, because they will be usable for certain online competitions. However, it's not going to be for online competitions that matter. As Sejun Park kind of goes through and makes an explanation of, it's Korean League Season 1, and it gives you points for Worlds, so yeah, it's VGC. This is why I was pretty confident about that one. Like, there hasn't been the official statement of VGC 2020, but since this one is going to be giving championship points, seems like that's the way it's going. Also, making it the same as the ranked ladder makes a good amount of sense. So that seems like what's going to be happening for VGC. But then we have this. This isn't going to give you any championship points. Certain online competitions will, like we saw with Pokemon Sun and Moon. So just keep an eye on that. However, Gigantamax Pokemon will be usable in this first online competition, but it's a single battle. Now, a lot of Gigantamax effects are for, like, affecting the entire field and mostly giving crazy benefit to your allies, but we don't really have this, but it does kind of show. In the Galar Beginnings competition, you'll be able to make your Pokemon huge by Dynamaxing, or even changing the form by Gigantamaxing them. And then we even see the Gigantamax Butterfree for the hard confirmation, but still, pick 6, bring 3. Now, online competitions are known to have 6v6 formats, but if those will have Gigantamax Pokemon, or if they'll be of any worth to participate in, that will remain to be seen, but it'll kind of show that if you do get a Gigantamax Pokemon, it's not completely useless, and you can get some kind of ranking for at least one of the online competitions. But now the question is if this is a good thing. And I think it is, because you can get Gigantamax Pokemon that have a hidden ability. Now, hidden ability is very rare. I've seen people struggle for hours to not find a hidden ability Pokemon, even with all of the exploits that are going on for max raid battles. So getting a Gigantamax and a hidden ability, that's ridiculous. Something like the Gigantamax Corviknight with Mirror Armor, that sounds absolutely busted. So that would just give hackers a massive advantage when the changes that we've seen in Pokemon Sword and Shield about making competitive more accessible has been trying to shorten the gap between the advantage of hackers and legitimate players. You know, the new items and features, and then handy features and stuff like that. So it's well known, mints, being able to use vitamins all the way to max EVs, still having hyper training inside the game. So that's kind of keeping it fair. And then Gigantamax, since it is rare and since there is a lot of work that goes into it, having a perfect competitive Gigantamax Pokemon would just be a massive advantage over other players. And at least this kind of cuts back on that. Now, there's also Gigantamax events that happen inside of your game. Some of them are already going on, like Butterfree, Dreadnought, and Corviknight, and some of them will be upcoming like Snorlax, and then even on the pages, they say that there are going to be future Gigantamax events to keep an eye out for. So, I think that also might be another thing. Like, if you really desperately need a Gigantamax Pokemon right now, then I guess there's no harm in going for it, especially if you're just kind of doing it more casually or as a completionist or something. But if you just kind of want to pick up Gigantamax Pokemon over time, then I feel like the best way is going to be waiting for one of these events to come through, because I've seen tons of Butterfree and Dreadnought. I have Pokemon Sword, that's going to be Dreadnought. Pokemon Shield is going to be Corviknight. I have tons of these well, I don't have tons. I've seen tons of them, so much to the point where I won't even do a 5-star Gigantamax battle, because if it's Butterfree or Dreadnought, it's not really worth it. And it seems to have this weird effect where if it's going to be a Gigantamax, it just overwrites that encounter entirely to where a red beam will spawn instead of needing a purple beam from throwing in a wishing piece to force spawn a Gigantamax Pokemon in that kind of way. So going for the Snorlax, probably going to be really easy to get the Snorlax. Butterfree and Dreadnought will be going on during that time. And then as we go into January, February, March, April, May, remember this game's got to last for more than just a month, guys. So as we go into the future, then there's going to be more opportunities to get more of those rare Gigantamax Pokemon. That might be the best time to take advantage of it. And then the last thing to bring up is if the Pokemon is even better with the Gigantamax, because on a competitive level, the only difference between Dynamax and Gigantamax is one move. And that one move takes a typing and then changes all moves of that type to the G-Max move. So if there was a better Max move in its place, that means that Pokemon is just worse. It might look cooler, but it's just worse. So example, Charizard. Inflicts damage for 4 turns on non-Fire-type Pokemon. Now, anyone that's battled against Leon or has gone up against a G-Max Charizard knows that that's actually a significant amount of burn. However, the Fire Max move is just better. Max Flare creates harsh sunlight, so the next Fire-type move you use does 50% more damage and also has ability synergy like Chlorophyll and is a lot more usable in doubles. So it feels like Charizard is just worse. Like, G-Max Charizard is just worse than Dynamax Charizard. Butterfree, like, I could go over all of these individually in, like, a really in-depth competitive way, but I do kind of just wanted to give this as examples. Some of these are really bad and just worse. Some of these are kind of neutral to where you can choose which one you would prefer, and other ones are just really good. Butterfree, Poison, Paralysis, or Sleep. It's weird to have the RNG, but 2/3 of those are really good with the Paralysis or Sleep, and then Poison, I guess, works, because at least you're getting that damage infliction, but having the Flutterby, like the Max Flutterby, also isn't really that insane of a move. So Max Flutterby decreases special attack of the target by 1 stage. It's situational, that if you already have like the outspeed and you don't want to get blown up by a specifically special attacking Pokemon, then maybe it would have been better to have that. But other than that, you're actually like putting down some status, and this works for all Pokemon in doubles. That's the G-Max move effect. That just kind of affects everything for those beneficial or hindering effects. So you have a chance to paralyze both opponents or sleep and paralyze one of the opponents, which is just kind of free on the Butterfree. Pikachu paralyzes all opponents. That's busted. It's a double nuzzle that does way more damage, but it's just Pikachu, but you can use the Light Ball. If Pikachu can survive to actually like make this happen, that's going to be pretty crazy. Meowth confusing all opponents, that's whatever. Machamp is crazy because it kind of gets like a focus energy effect while doing damage. So that's another thing to consider. Like when you get the effect while doing damage, that's a really nice thing to have on some of these Gigantamax moves. Gengar effectively becomes Mega Gengar for that one usage of Max Terror, unless like Max Terror, KO, Max Terror again, and then you get a couple effects of Shadow Tag depending on how long you're on the field. Kinglers, anything that affects the opponent in a non-permanent way, like they switch, they get their speed back, you KO them, and now the opponents are still fast. Also, Kingler isn't that great of a Pokemon, so you do have to consider the base Pokemon. Kingler with double health is just a Kingler with double health, even on the G-Max. It's kind of a neat idea, and I think they really just want to do this for the theme of the Galar region, since it does look like a pretty crazy snow crab or something, but it isn't really made for competitive. Lapras is really good, because we're effectively getting Aurora Veil while dealing damage. Eevee, I think, has a lot of cheese. It's just Eevee. It's not like you're gaining all of your stats from Extreme Evo Boost, but Infatuation plus like a Teeter Dance or something, just like laying down a lot of confusion and infatuation and hate could be pretty funny. And then Snorlax is the recent one that we saw, and it causes allies to restore their berries as well. I'm just thinking that in singles, like this might be one of the better ones to use for the online competition, because Snorlax then has like 400% health, in theory. Or like, you know, 397% health because of like all the crazy benefits it's getting. That you can go Chesto Resto. So Curse Amnesia, use Chesto Berry, you wake up, and then you can Gigantamax. Gigantamax doubles your health. So that means we're already dealing with 300% health, and then you can use that move, get your berry back, and then when it wears off, you use Rest again. So you're able to get like 2 rests and then an extra bar of health depending on like the current state of your health. But because Snorlax is slow, you take a hit, you rest, Chesto activates, you wake up, and then you Gigantamax. So you are going to be getting that full health Gigantamax off of this. And then maybe there's some kind of weird combo in doubles, like Tea Time, Force Berry Eat, and then use the max move and then get those berries back or something. That seems really cheesy. I'm not saying like it's a great strat or anything. Just kind of shows that this like opens up a lot of weirdness. I think it was really bad that the trailer used the Citrus Berry as an example, because this implies that the Pokemon gets its berry, not that it gets Snorlax Berry, but Machamp and Snorlax had Citrus Berry. I don't know about that. Either way, there's like a lot of other weird things. And then Corviknight just seems super, super busted, that it just kind of wipes everything. So where is that? Okay, removes the effect of Light Screen, Reflect, Spikes, Electric Terrain. Having a damaging Defog / a more damaging Rapid Spin like that is pretty insane, and the opponent just doesn't get to do anything. This is the Nope reset. Now, Corviknight is decent. It's not like one of the best Pokemon, so that's something. And then there's other weird ones. Changes Gravity. I think Gravity is like the least appreciated, underrated strategy in the game. Use Gravity, use Hypnosis, and Hypnosis jumps up to either perfect accuracy or like 90-something% accuracy. So there's some really cool combos, even with Orbeetle, or also in doubles that you get for free. Dreadnought is an example of a weird give and take, that setting Rain is good for Dreadnought to do more damage. Stealth Rocks is a thing, so it's like a damaging Stealth Rocks, but you get other weird damaging effects on Gmax. It's not really that crazy. You are giving up your Dynamax option in general, and that's kind of it. But you can still use a rock move, gain Sandstorm, and then have the special defense buff on Sandstorm while you're Gigantamaxed. So that makes it the question of, is it worth it? And I think it's still like a fun effect, and if you want to have like some fun comboing and 6v6 random battles or casual battles with friends and stuff, you can do it. But if you were planning on like some kind of grand VGC or Battle Stadium pub stomping strategy with a Gigantamax, you're going to be very disappointed. And according to St. Jude Park, which is a VGC world champion, it looks like it's not going to happen in VGC. Now, maybe hold off for like full absolute judgment on that until we get the official VGC rules. Like if the VGC rules allow Gigantamax, then yeah, now you can start formulating those Gigantamax strategies, but it's looking very unlikely. And if you want to do anything in the Battle Stadium right now, you're not going to get anything out of it. So that's kind of thing. Like, I think it's more of a completionist thing, that if you want to, and I think it's only doable. Like, getting every Gigantamax Pokemon only seems doable with these time exploits, with the soft resetting and stuff, that outside of that, it doesn't really seem that worth it. So if you want to just go for that completionist, if you just want to have your favorite Gigantamax Pokemon, go for it. But if you thought you were going to do something competitive with it, I say not worth it. Just go and get like hidden abilities and 6IV and get your competitive team ready. But there are also some crazy things that happen with like a hidden ability, Gigantamax, that can be really powerful in just regular battles and stuff. So there we go. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.